What if the moment you stopped trying to make them come back, they actually did? What if the moment you stopped checking their profile, stopped sending that last message, stopped waiting by your phone like a prisoner of your own hope, something shifted, not in them, in you, and they felt it? What if I told you that every time you begged, every time you blocked and unblocked, every time you performed your pain hoping they would notice, you were actually pushing away the very thing you wanted most? What if the secret was never about them at all? What if it was always about the energy you carry when you walk into a room, when you wake up in the morning, when you look at yourself in the mirror? Because here is what nobody tells you. People do not come back to those who need them. They come back to those who no longer need them but still choose them. Stay with me, because what I am about to share with you will not just change how you handle this situation. It will change how you carry yourself for the rest of your life. And once you understand this, you can never go back to who you were before. What if the most powerful thing you could ever do for any relationship, any connection, any situation where you feel invisible, unheard, or left behind was absolutely nothing? Not the nothing of giving up, not the nothing of defeat, but the nothing of a mountain, still, rooted, unmoved, and so magnificently present that everything around it bends in its direction without the mountain ever asking it to. We live in a world that has taught us two responses to pain: block or beg, cut them off completely, or fall at their feet. And both of these responses come from the same place, a place of fear, a place of inner emptiness, a place where you are so disconnected from your own worth that you either run from the situation or you chase it until you have nothing left. But today I want to offer you a third path, a path that has no drama, no performance, no noise, just a quiet, devastating, undeniable transformation that makes the world reorganize itself around you. Let us talk about blocking first. Because I understand it, I genuinely understand it. When someone hurts you, when someone ignores you, when someone treats you like you are optional, your first instinct is to make yourself disappear from their world. Block them, remove them, make them feel the absence of you. And on the surface, this looks like strength. It looks like boundaries. It looks like power. But ask yourself honestly, why are you really doing it? Are you doing it because you have genuinely moved on and their presence no longer serves your peace? Or are you doing it because you want them to notice? Because you want them to reach out and say, wait, where did you go? Because somewhere in the back of your mind, you are hoping that the block becomes the hook that pulls them back to you. If it is the second reason, and for most people it is, then blocking is not strength. Blocking is a strategy dressed up as healing. And the universe, the energy of life itself, sees through strategy every single time. Here is what happens when you block someone from a place of hurt. You are still attached. You are thinking about whether they noticed. You are checking your other accounts to see if they tried to reach you differently. You are lying awake wondering if they care that you disappeared. The block is on your phone. The connection is still very much alive in your mind. And that energy, that anxious, wounded, desperate energy, is still broadcasting itself into the world, still telling the universe that you are incomplete, still telling anyone who is sensitive enough to feel it that you are operating from a place of lack. And then there is begging. Oh, the tragedy of begging. Not because people who beg are weak, they are not. They are human beings in extraordinary pain, reaching out in the only way they know how. But begging is one of the most energetically destructive things you can do to yourself. When you beg someone to stay, to respond, to see you, to choose you, you are not just asking them for something. You are telling yourself something. You are telling yourself that you are not enough on your own, that your value is determined by whether or not this specific person recognizes it, that without their validation, something essential about you is missing. And the person on the receiving end of begging, whether they are conscious of it or not, feels that human beings are extraordinarily sensitive creatures. We feel energy before we process words. We feel the desperation in a text message, even if the words are calm. We feel the anxiety in a voice, even when the tone is steady. And what desperation communicates is not love. It communicates hunger. And nobody wants to be consumed. Nobody wants to be someone else's source of oxygen when that person has forgotten how to breathe on their own. So what do you do instead? What is this third path I am speaking of? You go inward, completely, ruthlessly, magnificently inward. You stop looking at what they are doing. You stop analyzing their behavior. You stop trying to decode their silence or their distance or their last seen timestamp. You take all of that energy, all of that enormous, burning, restless energy that you have been directing outward them, and you pull it back into yourself like a tide pulling back from the shore. And you use it. You use it to build something, to heal something, to become something. This is not about revenge. I want to be very clear about this. This is not about becoming your best self so that they regret losing you. That motivation is still external. That motivation is still about them. And as long as your growth is about them, your growth is not real growth, it is performance. And people can feel the difference between genuine transformation and performance. Always. Real transformation is when you begin to care more about who you are becoming than about whether they notice you becoming it. Real transformation is when you wake up one morning and realize that you spent the entire day without checking their profile, not because you were disciplined, but because you were genuinely absorbed in your own life, in your own becoming, in your own quiet, steady, unshakable expansion. This is when something extraordinary happens. This is the part that nobody explains clearly enough. When you genuinely shift, when your energy changes at its core and not just on the surface, the people in your life feel it. They feel it even if they cannot explain it. They feel it even if they have not spoken to you in weeks or months. Because energy is not bound by physical proximity, thought is not contained by distance. When you have been close to someone, when there has been a genuine connection, that connection continues to operate on an invisible level long after the visible contact has ended. And when that person who walked away from you, who ignored you, who made you feel small and invisible, when they feel the shift in your energy, something stirs in them. Not always immediately, not always in the way you expect, but something stirs. Because the version of you they left was incomplete, reaching, needing. And the version of you that you are becoming is whole. And wholeness is the most attractive force in the universe. I want you to understand something about nature. In nature, the most powerful things do not chase. The ocean does not chase the shore. The mountain does not lean toward the valley. The sun does not reach down toward the earth. They simply are, completely, fully, unapologetically themselves. And everything comes to them. Everything organizes around them. Everything is touched by them without them ever having to move an inch. You have that same capacity within you, every single one of you. But you have forgotten it because the world told you that love requires chasing, that connection requires begging, that being chosen requires performing, and none of that is true. None of it. The most powerful position you can occupy in any situation is the position of radical self-sovereignty. This means you are so deeply rooted in your own value, so genuinely engaged in your own journey, so alive in your own purpose, that the question of whether someone chooses you or not no longer determines how you feel about yourself. It still matters. You are human, and of course it matters, but it does not break you. Because you are not a house built on the foundation of someone else's approval. You are a mountain built on the bedrock of your own knowing. And from that position, from that rooted, sovereign, self-possessed position, you do not need to block anyone to protect yourself. Because you are no longer fragile, you do not need to beg anyone to stay. Because you know that whoever is meant to be in your life will feel the pull of who you truly are. And they will come, not because you manipulated them, not because you performed for them, but because genuine energy recognizes genuine energy. And greatness is drawn to greatness like water finding its own level. There is one more thing I want to say before I leave you with this. And it is perhaps the most important thing of all. The work I am describing, this inward work, this quiet becoming, this radical self-focus, it is not easy. I will not stand before you and pretend that it is easy, because it requires you to sit with discomfort. It requires you to feel the loneliness without running from it. It requires you to face the part of yourself that is afraid of being alone, afraid of being forgotten, afraid of not being enough. And to look at that fear with steady eyes and say, I see you, I understand you, and I am not going to let you run my life anymore. That is the real practice. That is the real discipline. Not the discipline of the gym or the morning routine, though those matter too, but the discipline of the inner world, the discipline of refusing to let your wounds write your future, the discipline of choosing every single day to come back to yourself, to your center, to your roots, to the quiet, unshakable knowing that you are enough, that you have always been enough, that you will always be enough. And when you live from that place, truly live from it, not just think about it or wish for it, but actually embody it. You will not need to do anything dramatic. You will not need to block. You will not need to beg. You will simply need to be fully, completely, powerfully be. And let me tell you something from the deepest place of conviction. The right people will feel that. They will feel it and they will come. And the ones who do not come were never meant to be in the season of your becoming. Because not everyone is equipped to stand in the presence of a person who has truly found themselves. And that is not your loss, that is your protection. So do not block, do not beg. Just do this, go inward, go deep, go real. Build yourself into something so genuine, so rooted, so full, that the universe has no choice but to reorganize itself in your favor. Because that is how it works, not with force. Not with noise, not with strategy or manipulation or desperate midnight messages. With presence, with peace, with power, the quiet kind, the real kind, the kind that lasts. Everything we have spoken about today comes down to one fundamental truth. You cannot attract what you are not. If you are operating from desperation, you will attract more situations that make you feel desperate. If you are operating from wholeness, you will attract wholeness. The work is never about them. It has never been about them. It has always been about returning to yourself so completely, so honestly, so powerfully that your entire energy field transforms. Block nothing from a place of pain. Beg for nothing from a place of fear. Instead, go inward, heal deeply, grow quietly, become genuinely, and then watch. Without attachment, without expectation, without desperation, watch how life, how people, how the universe itself begins to move in your direction, not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped fighting yourself. And when you stop fighting yourself, everything else stops fighting you.